Hi, hi there, and welcome to Transcontinental Trailer Sales. Today I'm going to be walking you through your 2015 Heartland Prowler 30Rls. We are just going to start off at the back of the unit here. You notice you do have a mount for barbecue. I'm going to show you how that works in a minute once we get to it. You got your spare tire located in the back, located in this back bumper cap. You can pull this cap out, and that's where your sewer hose is going to be located. It's currently inside the front compartment, but I will put it in there before the time of sale. You got a stabilizer jack in all four corners of this unit. The way those works is there's a tool inside the front compartment. You're going to hook it up to a drive nut, run this foot down to the ground. Once that foot contacts the ground, just giving another 1/8 quarter turn just to snug it up, and it's going to take any bounce or sway you have in the unit whenever you're walking around. A little bit further ahead here, you're going to notice this little flap. You got two tabs on either side, just floating them down. It'll allow that vent to open up, so that way whenever you're using that stove and running that overhead range hood, it's going to be evacuating whatever you're trying to evacuate. And whenever you're traveling, just locking that back into place, and that stops any excess dust from getting inside the unit. You got your refrigerator service port, not much you're going to have to worry about there. You got your furnace exhaust. Whenever that guy is on, the furnace is going to be blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. You got your hot water service port here. Popping that guy open, you're going to notice you got a 1-inch drain bolt right here. That's to drain the tank. You got your pressure relief valve, so whenever you first get to your campsite, you're just going to want to take that, pull it up. There should be a shot of water that comes out of there, letting you know that the tank's full and safe to fire up. We currently have this tank drained for customer pickup, so that's why there's no water coming out of there, so you wouldn't want to be turning that on quite yet. Just lock it into place like so. You got your fresh water connection. That's what your water pump draws off of. Filling that guy up with a water hose. If you look down below here, you do got your fresh tank drain right there. And then you're gonna have your sewer outlet. The way that guy works is your sewer outlet's gonna have, or your sewer hose is gonna have the same ears that the sewer outlet does. And then you got your black valve and your gray valve. You're always gonna wanna empty your black valve first. This is gonna be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. And then you can come behind that with your gray valve, which is typically a little cleaner water filled from your showers and sinks. You got your main 30 amp twisted connection here. Just taking note of that notch there. It's going to line up with this notch at the bottom corner. You're just going to push that guy in, twist it an 1/8 turn, it locks into place, and you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. If you follow that cord back, you do have your standard 30 amp plug end. Most campsites should have this, and you can plug right on in, but we do also include a 15 amp park adapter in case you're at home and you want to run the fridge and the lights. Just keep it in mind when you're using the 15 amp park adapter, you're not going to be running anything like an air conditioner inside there, as it's just not enough power. Whenever you do plug it in, you're going to get that little blue light on top letting you know that you have a successful power source. You got a city water connection, so if you're at a site with service, you can thread a garden hose in there, turn it on. It's going to pressurize all your lines without them needing to run your water pump. And then you got your black tank flush. So the way that works is if you're noticing an odor around the unit or false monitor panel readings, you can thread a garden hose in there with your tank connected and your tank valve opened. It's very important you do so, otherwise you do run the risk of bursting your tank if you turn this on before that happens. And that's just going to flush that tank out, keeping things that little bit cleaner. You got your exterior shower right here with hot and cold water. You got two low point drains right here. You're just going to twist those guys open, and it'll drain any water that's inside the lines currently out of the unit. In case you're leaving the unit for a while, you don't want the water to go stale or stagnant. Inside this front compartment here, you're just opening that guy up, locking this down into place. You do have that mount for the barbecue, as well as the barbecue itself. And then just that propane quick connect hose. And I'll show you how to hook all that up. So we're back at the back of the unit. To get this guy to swivel out, you're just going to unlock this pin, pull it, and move it out of place for now. That'll allow you to move this guy out. You can then swivel that out. You can put it wherever you'd like, depending on what your campsite setup is. You're just going to unfold these legs for the barbecue. You're going to notice this little channel here. It's going to line up with that channel there. You're just hooking that into place, and it stays like so. And then at that point, you just take your barbecue, on the side of that barbecue, you do have little holes that line up with those rails there. One in, you kind of rest it while you do the other. Then you push that all the way back. And then you've got 2 cotter pins just to lock it into place to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And then at that point, you can take your propane quick connect hose, unlock it, connect your ends to your barbecue, noticing that the valve is off, closing the flow of propane, so it's going to allow you to pull that collar back. If you were to have that open, it's going to lock that collar into place just as an added safety measure. So with the flow off, you can connect it up like so, take your other end and bring it to your propane to connect on this side, pull that collar back again, and then just really push it into place and it locks in. You can open up the flow on this side, open up the flow on that side, and you'd be able to light your barbecue with just your standard barbecue style lighter. And then to shut it all down, again, it's just the opposite, closing those valves, unlocking the hose. What I do with the hose is just connect it into itself. That way you don't run the risk of getting anything inside the lines, and it would be the opposite to take it all down. Also located inside this front compartment, you're just going to have this the stabilizer jack tool that tells you about earlier. Just connects into there like so. It is just a 3/4 inch socket, so if you wanted to put that onto an impact, you could. Just be careful running those jacks up and down with an impact, as you don't want to damage them. Located at the front of the unit inside this black box where your battery's housed. To get that, you just have to unlock this strap and unclip this top cap. Inside this cupboard here is going to be 2 30-pound propane tanks, standard barbecue style. Most of the time you can do everything you need right from the top, but for the purpose of the video, I will just select this cover right off, put it off to the side for now. You got a selector valve here, so with it pointed this way, you're going to be drawing off this tank, so you can open up this tank all the way like a barbecue. It's going to open up the flow of propane at the front of the unit. Then at the front, you got your light up front and your plumb jack. One way is up, the other way is down. Around this side of the unit, opening this guy up. This is where you're going to find your starter kit. Inside here is just going to be that hose I told you about. And that's also going to have your water hose, a little tester thing of toilet paper, as well as that 15-amp park adapter I told you about, and just some other goodies. Opening this, you got 2 110 plugs. And that's going to be it. And then you can take your assist handle, push it up, fold it 9 degrees, it locks it in place. You can then open up your door, and fold down your steps. Taking a step on inside, first thing you notice off on your left is just going to be that fire extinguisher. That's going to be just like home. Pull the pin and shoot. You got a few light switches in here, which is going to turn on a porch light and then some interior lighting. You have your slide out switches. So hitting that button down, always making sure you know what's on either side of that slide before you operate it. That way you don't run the risk of damaging anything. Slide out's going to start making its way out. Once fully extended, you're going to hear the whines and the clicks of the motor. And that's when you know to let off the button. So there you go, you got that one slide out, and then you can do the second slide. There you go, you have those clickings. Then you have your awning control. Pushing that button out, that awning is going to start making its way out. Once fully extended, you're going to see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hang down. Unfortunately, today I'm probably not going to have enough room to go all the way out. And that is about all I'm going to be able to go. Now, if it were to start raining, you can adjust the pitch on either side of the awning just by clicking that button in and sliding that arm in or out. If you do slide it in, it's going to lower the pitch of the awning, allowing water to then run off. Now, if you like that angle better, you could do the same thing with the front arm. It's gonna allow for more shade underneath here. Just always making sure you do set these back to where they were. That way you don't run the risk of bending anything when you bring them back in. Bringing it in just as simple as pushing that button. The awning's gonna start rolling in, making sure you pay attention that it rolls the right way in. That way you're not trapping any moisture inside there, accelerating the growth of mold or mildew. Once those arms contact the side of the trailer, you can hear the motors cut out. You can just let off the button. Right next to all that, you do have your thermostat, which is pretty simple. You got your temperature control, so hottest is obviously over to the right, coolest is over to the left. You got your system control, so you got off, and then hitting it one way to the right will bring it onto your heat, which is going to fire up your furnace, which fires off propane, and it's going to move all its air through the floor ducting you see around what you have around the unit. If you click that 2 times over, you're going to get over to fan. Now that's just moving air around with the air conditioner, no cooling involved, and you can run that on either high or low with just sliding this right fan control button, and then hitting it one more to the left will bring it over to cool. And that's when the air conditioning takes into effect. You can also run that on high or low, and then you have auto, which makes it become an on-demand system, so it'll kick in and out as needed depending on what you have the thermostat set to. Walking into the living space, all the lights are all on their own center push buttons, so you can control them individually if you'd like to do so. And all the blinds in the unit do work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them. This does pull out into the bed. You're just having to remove those back cushions, set them in here. And you can grab the foot of that couch and just pull out. And that folds out like so. And then you can fold down that backrest, and it turns itself into a couch. And then to get that back, you're just kind of doing the opposite. Folding it back in, grabbing the foot of the couch again, kind of twisting or pushing it all back in. And you can take your back cushions, put them back into place. Just keeping a note, the way we do have these captain chairs here, you do have to have them face like so, otherwise they're going to run into the slide when you go to bring them in. So just making sure you do have these like so. You got your entertainment center, you got your stereo, which is going to be just like home, minus the fact of having Zone A, B, and C. Zone C isn't hooked up to any speakers, but Zone B is your exterior speakers, and Zone A is going to be your interior speakers. Stepping into the kitchen area, you do have that range hood, which I already told you about. I do recommend running that fan whenever you're running the stove. That way you're evacuating all those propane fumes. You got your microwave up top, which runs just like home. To get that stove to light, you're just turning that knob over to light, slapped high, and hitting the sparker. Just be patient with it though. I know it fired up, but that's only because we had the propane running earlier. If you've had the propane off for a while, it can take a few minutes just to clear all the air out of the lines, so just be patient with that. And it goes the same way for the stove. I will be right back. I just have to grab a lighter. Get that stove to light. And just folding this guy down, turn this over to the pilot on option, push it in, take your lighter, go underneath here, you just gotta hold it underneath this little gas orifice, and eventually once the system's purged, it'll hold the pilot on its own, and you can let off that button, turn it up to your desired temperature, it fires right on up. You got your fridge, which is a Norcold. If you run it on auto, it's going to first search for shore power. Once shore power is taken away, it'll run on gas. Or you can run it solely on gas just by clicking it to the right, and it'll only fire on gas and not electric. You got your temperature selection on the left. You do got these travel latches on either side. Kitchen area, you got your sink with cold and hot water. Underneath here, as I'm going to mention, you can open this up. It's going to give you access to your water pump for winterization. And if you open up this panel here, which is just held in with these 4 screws, that's going to give you access to your water pump for those bypass valves. You're gonna notice right down here, you got your LP detector. If that guy ever starts going off, you are just gonna wanna turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit and open up some windows and turn on some fans. That way you can ventilate it out that little bit. Getting into the bathroom, light switch on the right, and then you do have your overhead fan switch. To open that guy up, you're just twisting like so. If you're gonna notice, you do get open up into the atmosphere, so if it starts raining, you do have to close that, or you can contact a parts department and get yourself some max air covers, and that's gonna allow you to run that whether you're traveling or if it's raining. You can contact them and they'll get you a quote to get set up with that. You got your shower with hot and cold water, of course. And then you kind of got your monitor panel system and then your main GFI down below. The way that GFI works, you got test on the bottom, reset up top. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, this would be the first place I'd look. And then you got your tank monitor panel system. So that L, F, G, and C is for the battery. That's gonna go low, fair, good, and then charging. And then you got your fresh, your black, and your gray. And that goes empty a thirds, 2/3, and then full. And then down below you got your water pump switch. Turning that on turns your water pump on, which draws from your fresh tank. And then you can fire up that water heater on either gas or electric. If you do fire it up on gas, you're gonna hit that button. It's gonna try lighting itself 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light, that little red fault light's gonna come on the right, and it's gonna stay on. At that point, you do just have to turn the switch on, double check you have the propane on, and then try again, and it should light. And then we're getting into the bedroom area where you do have a TV mount right here where you can mount maybe a little DVD player up top. You do have 2 plugins as well as a cable satellite outlet. You do have some storage underneath the bed. You can just pick it up like so, and that gives you access under there. And then of course you have your bed with storage on either side. You do have plugins on either side as well. And then this is going to be the fire exit. The way that works is you're just taking this handle, folding it out of place, pushing it out. You can take your screen, pull, this whole screen is going to pop out of place, and at that point you can just hop out of the unit. You got your antenna right up here. So you got up and down whenever you do, before you travel, you do always want to make sure you have that down before you travel. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.